Good evening, everyone. This is Logan Giles with StormInterceptor.com on your September 17th, 2020 update on weather in Delmarva, land and sea. Now, before we get started, today's my dad's birthday, so happy birthday to him. Now, back to weather right now. We have had mostly scattered rain showers across the area, which is associated with post-tropical cyclone Sally, which is well south of us into parts of central Georgia. So the rain shield is well ahead of the system. Now, the rain should last until early tomorrow morning and should bring about an inch or two of rain for the area, especially south of Maryland into Virginia. Now, back to weather tomorrow. So, post-tropical cyclone Sally, or Sally, is expected to move just to the east of Virginia Beach and maybe Cape Charles a bit between 7 and 10 a.m. in the morning. And then after that, a cold front will move through the region. Now, this cold front will be pretty dry. The only rain associated for us here will be from Sally. So the cold front will bring some much needed rain to parts of the Northeast, but here on Delmarva, we're just talking about rain from Sally. So this cold front is going to be dry, but it's not going to be, of course, for waste. It is going to bring much cooler weather in for the area. Probably low 60s to mid 60s. Now, those dew points will be pleasant. Nice sunny skies, so as you get off the work shift, if you go for a walk or run, you will be greeted with a much nicer, drier weather, which I know we all can wait for after it's been hot this summer, and we just had rain today, which will be yesterday for tomorrow. Now, once that cold front moves through, you can see that cold front's near Major Hurricane Teddy. So once that comes through, two areas of high pressure will move in and become dominant until next Thursday. Now, we see those isobars or those lines. That is an area called longshore fetch, or fetch for short. Now, what this is a fairly large area of wind which causes enough energy to build up and create large waves. The only concern here on Delmarva, or only, I should say, there's actually a lot, is beach erosion, sneaker waves, longshore flow, dangerous rip currents, which will be a very strong threat. So please stay out of the water. I know surfers will enjoy this, so just stay out of the water and be careful. And, of course, coastal flooding. Now, speaking of that, a coastal flood watch has been issued for Virginia, while a coastal flood advisory has been issued for Maryland. And Mount Holly is still waiting to see if they need to issue an advisory for the Delaware beaches. My bet is that they will have that issued. So this is for the southern tip of the peninsula near Kipter Peak, which is just north of Cape Charles. Now major flooding is expected for the high tide cycles on Friday morning and Saturday morning. And, of course, that moderate flooding on Saturday evening towards the night hours. Now, flooding is expected to begin Friday night in isolated areas from Virginia all the way up to Delaware, maybe even towards the Delaware Bay, mainly Bowers Beach area. And high tide cycles will gradually get higher as the weekend goes on, and the peak is of course forecasted to be Sunday, and flooding will likely persist until Monday, maybe even Tuesday. Now, this is for Oyster, which is by the University of Virginia Coastal Research Center. Now, same shoreline along the coastline, moderate flooding, high and moderate, maybe major flooding. So again, this is going to cause about 2 to 3 feet of water rise, which creates major problems. This is for Chincoteague, so folks that have been down there, they're known for their wild ponies. So again, moderate flooding. I mean, you're talking about a 2 to 3 feet of water rise for the area, so that's a good amount of water. Now, moving up north towards Ocean City, this is where the coastal flood advisory is. Might be upgrade to a watch if that northeast wind shifts and gets stronger. I'm gonna say is that advisory for now, but we'll see how the latest track goes on Teddy on the high pressure system. So again, minor to moderate flooding is in the forecast for the city. So mainly places south of 33rd Street and Jolly Roger, especially south of Route 50, where you get your Worcester Street, Wycomico Street, Somerset Street, Dorchester Street, and even into 2nd Street right along the inlet. So those areas, for those that are down there a lot, you know those areas flood a lot. So mainly it's going to be 33rd Street along the bay and along the bay all the way north into Fenwick Island. Now changing gears, so this is my Patreon. Now, if you want really behind the scenes stuff of like how I do it, so for just $1, you can get the blog and the video 2 hours before the public does. So just for $1, get stuff before everyone else does. Bump that up. So the next tier is all this stuff. So blog and video early and forecast only for you. So if you live in Dallas, Texas, and want to forecast for you, I will do that. And if you want to forecast to on Delmarva just for you, like if you want to know what stuff to wear that day, or if this will affect any sporting activities or driving stuff, I will do that. And I will make a detailed information, one blog, and probably video about how I make these videos and blogs. So like what stuff I look at, all that stuff. So the next tier, which is personally my favorite tier, is the 3rd tier. So you really want to get this beginning probably this weekend. I'll explain in a bit. So you get all these stuff on, of course, tier 2s and 3s, but also I have this thing called SITs, or the Storm Intercept Transmitters. So these are unmanned cameras which will be placed with great strategy where no person can be safe. So for example, I am planning on having a camera somewhere along the Virginia coast where major flooding is forecasted. So you will get unlimited access to these live videos as well. So also a detailed plan on my plans for storm chasing. I will be storm chasing this weekend. So I'll send a blog out for that as well. And the public will not receive these. Only you. And I don't consider myself to be a great storm chaser, but I have chased enough where I feel I can give the strategies on storm chasing. So where do you want to go? What supply should I bring? Now this is not just limited to hurricanes, of course. This includes blizzards and severe storms. So those supercells, tornadoes, those powerful blizzards, which we got on Delmarva in 2018, which dumped a foot of snow. So that as well. Now the last tier, of course, is when you really, really ramp things up a bit. Of course, you can get all the items, so access to my cameras, how I do stuff, and just an early blog and video. So behind the scenes of how I set up for a storm chase. So what stuff do I bring, for example? And there's footage from inside the vehicle and out in the field. So what you want to see when out in the field. So how are my SITs set up? It's not the SAT, this is not high school. How are my SIT set up, so my cameras? So how do I set those up? And I'll take you on an exclusive access to the inside and outside. And what camera gear do I use and what settings? So if you are a photographer and would like to know what settings I use for sunset, sunrises, storms, and even night photography, I will do that for you. And of course, a special shout out at the end of my blogs and videos. And a special gift for you, if you are a tier 4 supporter for 3 straight months. So if you do sign up today, you have to be a supporter until until December 17th. That is 3 months from now. You will be able to make your own blog. It'll have your name on it. So whatever you want to have in the blog, I will of course look at it to make sure there's no funny stuff in it. It will be in on the website. So your work will be on the website for people to see. So that's just a brief plug on my Patreon. So a recap of the video, pretty dry weather for the area, fortunately. But of course, you do have the threat of coastal flooding and a lot of ocean action beginning this weekend. Once again, this is Logan Gonzalez from StormInterceptor.com, and stay safe. I'll see you all tomorrow night from Fenwick Island.